lessons today, I just found it interesting that the lessons assigned for Independence Day, the 4th of July, actually echo part of our baptismal covenant. So I switched the lessons from yesterday to today, because really it's all about caring about other people, loving ourselves, our family, our nation. The Episcopal Church is filled with people who are willing to take the time to read, mark, and inwardly digest the scriptures, to stand up for others when they are unjustly excluded or accused, to be arrested for protesting against unfair laws, and to do all this in the name of love, which is embodied for us in the person of Jesus Christ. This is incarnational theology at its best, where the personhood and ministry of Jesus Christ is carried out through the actions and bodies of people. You may not know this, but the Episcopal Church, our governance, is similar to that of our nation. Where the nation has a Senate and House of Representatives, we have a House of Bishops and a House of Deputies made up of lay and ordained people. We try to make sure that everyone has a voice. We gather every 3 years in General Convention, supposedly the second largest bicameral body in the world, to discuss resolutions and make decisions that impact the Episcopal Church and beyond. People are elected as deputies, not delegates. A deputy has to vote his or her own conscience, not for a particular church or a diocese or a bishop, but their own conscience. I believe our setup is like it is because many of the same founders of our nation's governance were Anglican, which became Episcopal. Episcopal actually means governed by bishops who are elected and not considered infallible. Our presiding bishop is elected by the House of Bishops and approved by the House of Deputies, and it's a 9-year obligation. Currently, our presiding bishop, Sean Rowe, is the youngest presiding bishop ever. I think he's in his mid-40s. But I wanted to say a few years ago, I came across an article about one of George Washington's letters, which had been on display at the National Museum of American Jewish History in Philadelphia. That opened in 2012 with a special exhibition, George Washington and Religious Freedom. And the show focused on a dynamic period in American history from the Declaration of Independence from 1776 to the ratification of the Bill of Rights in 1791, when religious and political leaders and civic intellectuals fought over the concept of religious liberty. So George Washington's letter in 1790 to the Jewish people of Newport, Rhode Island, is probably his most profound statement on religious liberty, and it was the star of this show. So during the year and a half following his unanimous election, he corresponded with other religious communities, including Lutherans, Methodists, Quakers, Catholics, And the framers of the Constitution advocated for a really revolutionary group of freedoms, but this issue of religion, what religious freedom would that be? And that was not settled throughout 1789 and 1790. So his letter responds to the fact that America's 2,500 Jewish people were experiencing discrimination at state levels. So in Newport, Rhode Island, where several Jewish people established themselves as leading merchants, they were denied the right to vote, and they were barred from holding state office. So George Washington wrote to them. To the Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, August 18, 1790. The citizens of the United States of America have a right to applaud themselves for having given to humankind examples of an enlarged and liberal policy, a policy worthy of imitation. All process alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is now no more than toleration is spoken of as if it was by the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoyed the exercise of their inherent natural rights. He says, for happily, the governance of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction. The governance of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction. To persecution, no assistance. Requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, and giving it on all occasions their effectual support. We should all hold those words and concepts dear. The government of the United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance. So when people are baptized into the Episcopal Church, they take on the baptismal covenant. It's very much a church that holds up the marginalized and upholds the concepts of freedom of speech, of choice, of belief, and encourages all its members to live in such a way that bigotry is given no sanction and persecution no assistance. We expect, and yes, the church expects things of its members. When I was up in St. Michael's in New York City, a couple came in to get their child baptized. They weren't regular attenders, but I met with them to go over the baptism service, and I kind of ended the conversation by saying, of course, we expect to see you on Sunday morning, and I'm not kidding when I say the man pushed me up against the wall and said, how dare you have expectations? And they left. But we do. We do have expectations. When people become members of the church, they learn how to use their voices and their actions for the sake of those who have no voice, and at some time take a turn in the governance of the church. When we're baptized, we don't say we'll raise our children to follow Jesus for just a while. We'll always be teaching them, even when they're in their 30s or 50s. And when we say we'll respect the dignity of every human, we don't mean just for this moment or occasion. We mean it for a lifetime. Jesus did not ever deny healing to those who sought it. He did not exclude people. He spoke for the voiceless. He listened to the disenfranchised. He offered healing, new life, to all who came to him. He did all this out of an unconditional love for humanity, which we believe was given by God at the moment the world began. This is the love we too try to give and to receive. We live not only for ourselves, but for the world. We do not exist to judge others, but to try to do our part to bring about healing in a world that is filled with brokenness and pain. We, the people of a country which states that all people are equal and free, a country which says that everyone may worship freely, and we, the people of a church which says we'll do all in our power to support each other in a life in Christ. It means a life devoted to bringing about healing and justice, and we would do well to focus on what we say and what we mean and what we will do as a result of our baptismal vows, which is all about everything coming together for the good.